So James Hoffman states in his World Atlas of Coffee that having good water is important for a good cup of coffee. He says that the ideal water is water that is slightly hard and that you can put through a Brita filter, which is basically what I've been doing. I looked up my city's water supply. It is slightly hard. I put it through a Brita filter. I use that. But he also suggests to try using different kinds of water just to see what the difference is, what the comparison is. So, for today's experiment, I've bought some bottled water as per suggestion of Mr. Hoffman. And just to kind of go crazy with this, just to see really how big of a difference I can get, I've also bought some distilled water. We're going to see if that influences the taste of the coffee. And one last thing I'm going to try using the tap water without a filter on it and seeing if I can notice the difference anyway. So here we go. This much bottled water has become this much coffee. Let's give it a try. It actually does taste better. Now, of course, the problem is this is not double blind, so I know that I'm using bottled water, so I already have the expectation that it's going to taste better. So ideally, if I were doing this in a scientific setting, I'd have somebody else come in here and like anonymize the three different water choices, and then I would taste it and I wouldn't know which was which. It tastes a little bit sweeter, I would say, and a little more body to it. I have found that if you do a pour over terribly, it tends to just taste like terrible diner coffee. But if you do a pour over well, where you keep the coffee bed pretty even, then there's a little bit of interesting complexity to it. Yeah, I'd say it just tastes a little bit sweeter. I mean, the mouthfeel is about the same. And there's kind of a similar amount of body to what I expect from when I do a decent pour over. But mostly it's the same. I'd say there's like a 15 to 20% difference in that it tastes a little sweeter. That's about the only thing I can notice. We'll try distilled water next. Alright, so that was the result of the normal bottled water. Today, distilled water. So this is coffee brewed with distilled water. And I want to make a point, I'm not advocating that you brew coffee with distilled water. I'm just trying to test from a little experiment to see what the impact is of doing it. Brewing coffee with distilled water is a ridiculous idea. It's not supposed to be done, but the point is, if you follow James Hoffman's advice and his theory about this, this is possibly the worst thing I could do for my coffee flavor in terms of water. He says that you want some dissolved minerals in it, but if this is distilled, then any minerals that didn't survive the evaporation condensation process of distilling it, those are gone, so I got no minerals. He says I should have a mild amount of minerals. And the hardness, Hoffman says the water should be slightly hard, meaning it has a slight amount of calcium carbonate in it, but I assume that doesn't survive the distilling process. So what I have is water that's perfectly soft. It's going to have no calcium carbonate in it at all. So the theory here is that this should make it taste worse. And of course it's going to influence like what my opinion is. This is not double blind. I did notice during the brewing process that the bloom seemed especially reactive. I got like more bubbles. I got one really like big ass bubble. So that was a difference. It does make a difference. It does make a difference to not have the minerals, the calcium carbonate in there. Oh my god, it has an aftertaste to it. An aftertaste that like just kind of punches you in the back of the throat. It's interesting because it's not like a bitter aftertaste. It's not a matter of like the taste of overbrewed coffee. It would be bitter. I don't know how to describe it. I want to say it's like a sourness actually, almost. But it's definitely it's just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say that it tastes chemical. but it has kind of a harshness to it. Yeah, I'm going to come up with an official description of it tastes like a punch in the back of the throat. That's what the aftertaste is. Ugh. So, lesson learned. Use water that has some dissolved solids in it. Use water that is slightly hard, not perfectly soft. And tomorrow morning we will try coffee with just straight out of the tap that is not filtered, and we'll see what that tastes like. Coffee with tap water. Yeah, you know how I said that pour over coffee, when done poorly, tastes like crappy diner coffee? Like, I don't think I did a bad job with extracting it this morning. I extracted the same way I always do. I got a level coffee bed in the end. I'm going to try this again tomorrow, but right now it seems like the fact that the water is not filtered really has a substantial negative impact on the flavor of the coffee. So this is unfiltered coffee, take 2. So this is just straight out of my tap, which is supposed to be good water, but I didn't run it through my Brita filter. Yeah, same as yesterday. It's kind of like diner coffee. It tastes like crappy pour over. It lacks complexity. So for thoroughness, one last time, I'm going to make my tomorrow morning's cup of coffee with filtered tap water, just to confirm that it really is that much better than this crap that's coming out of it when I don't filter it. So this is once again coffee that's made straight the tap water that's just been filtered through a Brita filter. Yeah, that's good. So, lesson learned, the best water for your coffee is something that is slightly hard, has a bit of minerals in it. You might even want to consider using mineral water to get there.
So thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to stay coffee snobby.